Mum is our library music label, which we set up about 6 years ago.
Mum is three people: Rick Wharton, Ralph Summons and me.
Well, we got together and then we sat down and started to put a bio together, and we realised that between us we have played on hundreds of hit singles, we have played on hundreds of movie scores, and we've played with all of the best people in the industry.
People that are on, records have got amazing CVs that are incredibly underused in this kind of music. So it makes it fresh, original, and it makes it real.
And so we thought, hang on, let's put a production library together that encompasses those production values and our skills, our composing skills and our production skills to make something that sounds really fantastic. The recording and mixing process is a mix of analog equipment and computers.
We're not on laptops, we use a lot of really good old mics, some really nice analog gear.
It goes through the Harrison board and it gives us a really great analog tone to the sound, and we love that.
Rick Wharton, who engineers, is a real engineer, it's not kind of bedroom productions, it's a real thing. So we have the best of both worlds.
We're using Pro Tools and Logic, we're getting all the amazing things that you can use with digital equipment to give you the quality of the sound, the mix, the convenience, the recall, all of these things.
We wanted to give them a bit more freedom and do their own albums.
Paul Clarvis is a master percussion player from London. He's played on the countless Bond movies, The Bourne Ultimatum, The Dark Knight Rises. He's extremely creative. He's a very, very interesting musician, and many of the composers that he works with, such as Alexandre Desplat, rely on him to give them a really fantastic sound to their score.
One album we've got is sort of hot club jazz guitar, Django Reinhardt style stuff, composed and played by Martin Taylor, who is world renowned.
And we've got Clem Cassini, of course, playing on a British Invasion. Clem, was on the originals of things we're getting in the feel of, like Telstar and Shaking All Over. We both actually recorded for Joe Meek originally in my tender young years, and then suddenly there we are playing, tracks of that genre.
With the British Invasion album, what we've done is we've got a lot of the guys who are playing on the original tracks, and certainly in the bands and the sessions that were around in the 60s when those records were being made, and then going over to America and being the big hits that became known as the British Invasion. The reason we got some of the guys involved for the British Invasion album is because they got a sound that just instantly gets you halfway there with getting the tracks we're doing to sound like the original tracks.
It's the real thing with us. It's as close you're ever going to get to the tracks, because we were the guys on the tracks.
We've also got Brian Bennett, who was in the Shadows, famously. So he's done a whole bunch of tracks for us in all sorts of different styles, because he's recording music all the time, library music, film music, TV music. So it's what he does.
Indian film music is making a real impact at the moment, and one of the guys that is making this music is the great Kuljit Bamra. He's a master percussion player, he's an amazing composer, he's really, really at the top of his game. And luckily, he's a friend of ours. We went straight to him and said, look, would you make a record for us? He said, yes, why don't we do a Bhangra album? He's made one, it's called Cinematic India.
Ralph, for instance, has played with Van Morrison as well, so the bass player with him in that band was Steve Pearce. So Steve and his partner Jay, who plays guitar, They've done a couple of albums for us. One they just completed recently, a rock album.
There's so much vocal music being used in productions at the moment that we decided to spend a little time focusing on making some quality vocal albums.
He's got a well-paid job with his daddy. He'll do all the things I like to do. I got the kind of man any woman would want.
I can hear you on the wind, I can feel you in the rain.
Let me hold you in my arms. I've been missing you since you went away.
We're very excited about a Motown/Northern Soul record, and we're very excited that we're going to have some name singers on that. I can't tell you who it is yet, but they're going to be amazing.
If we forget, library, a sort of production, it's just great music, and it fits the genre of what program makers need, without it being kind of too clinical like a lot of stuff is.
Alright, let's just play it.
That kind of thing.
So we'll put the light on.
Oh, put your arms around me.